Josh Tissier is going to be in the mix, warming you up for whatever you're doing on this Friday night, bringing the tunes, bringing the party. And love having Josh on the show because he always has so much to fill us in with. He's a busy man, gets up to a lot. But even recently, he was in London DJing at one of the biggest nightclubs in the capital. So Josh told me how his set at Ministry of Sound went down.
Yeah, that was my 4th time playing there. And I'd been there like 3 weeks before. So yeah, 2 in a row, effectively.
For the Halloween sort of party, or was it just before that?
Yeah, so I played at like a freshers party on the 7th of October, and then on the 27th of October was their Halloween party. Ministry
of Sound is like an institution as in terms of like a nightclub in London, and it has such a big reputation. I'm sure people had the CDs and stuff when they were younger. Like,
yeah,
to be able
I remember.
To be able to go back and be like invited there quite regularly must be so wicked for you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like the crowd is always really great, and yeah, the sound system in there is like really next level. The lighting is amazing. Interestingly enough, they don't do like the CO2 blasts anymore, apparently due to environmental reasons.
Oh, right.
Because it's bad for the environment. So that's a shame, but I kind of get it. But they still do confetti, so it's all good.
Oh, wicked. That's so cool. And what was it like being at the Freshers event? Did it feel very different being at the Freshers event compared to like the Halloween one, where you get a lot more students, obviously, at the Freshers event, and then Halloween's probably more for everyone, right?
I would say that it was probably nearly exactly the same crowd, to be honest.
Oh, right.
So, yeah, very much students for both events.
That's cool. And students love a party as well, so they're always a good crowd, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And did you dress up then for Halloween this year? Were you DJing in costume?
No, I didn't, because I had to pack really lightly, because I travelled to the Netherlands to visit a few music friends the following day, so I had like nearly a week's worth of clothes in my backpack, and I couldn't take a costume with me. So
yeah, the challenges of flying from the Channel Islands to the UK and then on to another destination is always like trying to pack as light as possible. How was it in the Netherlands? Was it good to see all your pals?
Yeah, it was really good. I met up with 3 guys like individually because they don't really know each other, but yeah, I stayed with them as well, which was quite cool. So saved a bit of money on like hotels and things.
Yeah, that's always handy, isn't it? And I mean, when you go there, were you just talking like more business stuff and about stuff going ahead, or just to catch up with friends?
Oh yeah, it was more like catching up with friends, and then one guy that I stayed with for a couple of days, we basically just like lived in his studio for 2 days, like finishing making music at like 3 a.m. So I came back totally exhausted. I didn't realize how much I missed it until I started doing it again. Yeah, I kind of like going on a plane and like just listening to music or watching a movie kind of in isolation, weirdly. There's something kind of nice about like being up in the clouds and like not having reality there to like bother you, if you get what I mean.
I actually really get what he means. That is Guernsey's Josh Tissier speaking there. And there is something about just being completely zoned in, not having anyone bother you, unless it is someone that's like, would you like a drink, or do you want a snack? And that's the way that I like to be bothered, to be fair. And you could just be alone with your thoughts up in the sky, right? 17 minutes past 8. That mix from Josh Tissier is just around the corner. And we were hearing a bit before about his trip to London, the past couple of trips. So the Ministry of Sound, the nightclub there, he performed at the Halloween event and also a Freshers event. 2 massive parties, right, for a massive nightclub. And he produces loads of his own music as well, which he'll feature in tonight's mix. But I remember the last time I caught up with Josh, he had something really interesting to say. He said that one of his tracks is going to be featuring on a TV show, which is really exciting. But he was kind of quite close-lipped about the whole situation. So I wanted to find out if there was any more detail, anything else that he could tell us about this upcoming TV show.
I don't really know, actually, because I haven't heard from them since. I know that the TV show that's going to be played on, the episode will air early 2022. So, yeah, it's funny how long these things take, because at the time that I got the email for them to request like to use my song in a particular scene, I guess they were kind of editing it, and then they need to edit the whole show and then schedule it for release and everything, because it's on HBO. I can't remember if I mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just funny to see like how many months it takes. So I've known about it since like April or May, and then I don't think it's going to air till like February. So
yeah, it's also quite funny to think like you're like, oh yeah, it'll be early 2022, and I was just thinking there like, oh, that's quite a while away, and then I'm looking at the clock and it's like, oh, actually it's November now. Wow, that's not actually that far away at all. There's only like 3 months. That's wild.
It's scary, yeah.
Let's chat about the mix that you put together tonight. Of course, as ever, some of your own originals, but you've gone for a slightly different take to what you provide us usually.
Yeah, so I went a little bit heavier, and kind of wanted to give a taste of the kind of tracks that I was playing at Ministry of Sound. So still like kind of commercial, recognisable, but just a little bit heavier.
Absolutely perfect Friday night sort of warm-up mix if people are heading out this evening. And for you, in terms of releases and stuff, it's always good to check in because it always seems like you have stuff in the pipeline. When's the next sort of big release for you?
Next Friday, actually.
Amazing.
It's like a kind of like a follow-up of my cover of Push the Feeling On, which I made with Kasdan, because we had like a big response on that. It's got like 2.5 million streams now, so it's doing pretty well considering I think it's only a year old. We decided to do another cover, and it's included in the mix tonight, and it's a cover of Now You're Gone by Bass Hunter, which I think anybody in our age group is going to have fond memories when they were teenagers.
Absolute classic. I love Bass Hunter so much. When I was listening through to it, I was like, yes, I'm so happy this makes a feature.
I'm really looking forward to getting that one out there, and because we started working on it back in like March, so yeah, it's been like 7 or 8 months until it's been released. So
that seems to be a common theme with your music, doesn't it? Like stuff happens months and months after it all gets sort of organised.
Yeah, it's a little bit frustrating sometimes how long things can take. But then I guess it kind of helps with the excitement, because by the time you finish the song, like you're a little bit fed up with it, I guess.
Yeah.
So then by the time the release comes around again, you've not heard it 100 times, and then you're kind of excited for it again.
Josh Tissier from Guernsey speaking there. He's going to be in the mix in around about 6 minutes or so. I'll squeeze in a couple of tracks before we get there. Free on the BBC across the Channel Islands. Time now to dive into that mix from Guernsey's Josh Tissier. Stick around if you like tunes like Bittersweet Symphony, Insomnia, Dancing on My Own, and Bass Hunter's Now You're Gone. It's all lined up for your Friday night. Let's hand the airwaves over to Josh.
I'm Josh Tissier, and this is my mix for Tim Hunter.